In 2021, Olivia Rodrigo released her song, Good For You. The song debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and listeners quickly fell in love with its pop rock sound and chantable chorus. Unfortunately, things quickly soured, as people also noted its similarity to Paramore's song, Misery Business, released 14 years earlier. The songs were so similar, in fact, that Paramore was given 50% of the songwriting royalties and songwriting credits on Good For You. Now, following this, many people were quick to call Olivia a dirty old plagiarist. This makes sense because plagiarism accusations in the music industry are far too common. Olivia perhaps should even be thankful this wasn't a case that ended up in court. Both Ed Sheeran and Dua Lipa recently had lawsuits filed against them for alleged plagiarism. So what's going on here? Are all of our favorite artists actually thieves, intentionally ripping off songs and passing them off as their own? Well, maybe, but I think there might be something else going on here. Perhaps these artists are falling victim to what's known as cryptomnesia. Cryptomnesia is a memory error where we mistakenly believe that a retrieved memory is our own original idea. This then results in inadvertent or subconscious plagiarism. For example, you might tell a joke to your friends without realizing it's from that comedy special you watched a week ago. Many studies have demonstrated cryptomnesia in a laboratory setting. In one study conducted by Brown and Murphy, participants in a group were first given a category, such as four-legged animals. The participants were then asked to take turns sequentially generating novel examples of this category. After this, each participant was individually asked to provide completely new responses that weren't given in the previous generation phase. Now, 17 out of the 24 participants inadvertently plagiarized another person's response, indicating how truly pervasive cryptomnesia can be. So now you might be wondering, why do we fall victim to cryptomnesia? Are all of our brains broken or something? Well, no, it's just an unfortunate byproduct of how our memory works. Many people think of memory as a filing cabinet in which our memories are neatly stored away to be retrieved later on in their original form. However, this is unfortunately not the case. Instead, our memory is reconstructive, in which our interpretation of a past event is imperfect. Because of this, we may misattribute the original source of a given memory. An attribution is just any judgment that ties together cause and effect. So in this case, a source and an idea. And a misattribution is just when this judgment goes wrong. So say you're in a writing session and you just came up with a great idea for your new song. The original actual source for this may have been Misery Business, but you don't make that attribution. Instead, you misattribute the source of this idea to your own creativity. Thus, cryptomnesia in action. So now that we've established cryptomnesia as a potential explanation for Olivia's case, I want to focus on how the public responded to these accusations. Many were quick to call Olivia a hack or a copycat. Now, these attributions can be explained at least in part by the fundamental attribution error, which is our tendency to weigh dispositional factors over situational factors when we're considering someone else's behavior. So hack and copycat are both dispositional factors as they directly relate to Olivia's whole personality. Whereas cryptomnesia, falling victim to cryptomnesia, is more situational, which may explain why people were less willing to consider this as a possibility. People's opinions may have also been influenced by group polarization, which is when an individual's initially moderate beliefs polarize to the extreme following a group discussion. So while many people may have initially thought that Misery Business and Good For You maybe have some similarities following a conversation on Twitter, they all agree that the songs are in fact identical, and Olivia is just a bad person. These psychological factors highlight how our judgments about plagiarism accusations can be overly uncharitable and overly simplistic. When we rush to label artists like Olivia as plagiarists, we risk diminishing the intricate way that memory and inspiration function in songwriting. Many of us listen to hours of music every day, and our artists are no different. It would be unreasonable of us to expect them to correctly attribute every single idea they come up with to its proper source. In this way, it may in fact be inevitable to experience cryptomnesia in songwriting. But I don't necessarily think that this is inherently a bad thing. Music didn't go from Gregorian chants to Shake It Off overnight. Instead, it evolved, with new artists building off the influences that came before them. This is why the increasing frequency of plagiarism accusations in the music industry is so concerning. Now, I'm not saying that we should turn a blind eye to all plagiarism, just that some accusations may do more harm than good. If we set a precedent that any form of subconscious influence is grounds for legal action, then we risk stifling the very thing that allowed music to evolve in the first place. So instead of fixating on what an artist may have subconsciously borrowed from another source, perhaps we can celebrate how they were able to transform these influences into something that's uniquely their own. And with this, we may be able to take a little bit of the misery out of the music business. Thank you.